Welcome to Defending Digital. I'm Chad Warner. Today's topic, how often should you change your password? The question, how often should I change my password, has been around for as long as there have been passwords. Years ago, you may have had 5 to 10 passwords. Now, you likely have over 100. So, how often should you change your passwords? The threat. What would happen if someone got one of your passwords? 1, they could do immediate damage. Or 2, they could spy on you for weeks, months, or years. What kind of damage might they do? They might transfer money out of one of your bank accounts, send spam email from your account, or post harmful content to your social media accounts. What kind of spying might they do? They might monitor your financial activity or monitor your conversations by email or social media. How would someone get your password? There are a few different ways. They could get it from a data breach. When your data is stolen from an organization. They might guess it by trying personal details such as names or dates that are personal to you. They might observe it by seeing you enter it or finding it written somewhere. They might trick you, such as by sending a phishing email that you fall for. Or you may share it with someone willingly, sharing it with a family or friend. How to increase your security. You've probably heard that you should regularly change your passwords in case someone gets a hold of them. The idea is that if someone is using one of your passwords and you change it, that will cut off their access. This has led many organizations to require people to change their passwords on a schedule, such as every 30, 60, or 90 days. Unfortunately, this has led to poor password practices, such as creating weak passwords, using the same password for multiple accounts, and using predictable passwords. As data breaches have become more common, these issues have become more serious. So in recent years, industry experts have reversed the advice to regularly change your passwords. This is a quote from NIST, the National Institute of Standards and Technology. This is from publication 800-63B, Digital Identity Guidelines 5.1.1.2. Quote, verifiers should not require memorized secrets to be changed arbitrarily, e.g. periodically. However, verifiers shall force a change if there is evidence of compromise of the authenticator, end quote. Then Microsoft says, quote, periodic password expiration is a defense only against the probability that a password, or hash, will be stolen during its validity interval and will be used by an unauthorized entity. If a password is never stolen, there's no need to expire it. And if you have evidence that a password has been stolen, you would presumably act immediately rather than wait for expiration to fix the problem. End quote. The SANS Institute says, quote, the greatest risk to your password is no longer cracking, but password harvesting. Cybercriminals infect your computer with keystroke loggers, data harvesting via phishing websites, people sharing or reusing passwords, social engineering attacks over the phone, SMS texting, or a number of other methods. Basically, since the threat model has changed, if your password is compromised, it will almost certainly be collected in seconds, not months. And when the bad guy gets your password, they're not going to wait the required 90 days. They're going to leverage it within hours. So, by the time you get around to changing your passwords, the bad guys are long gone. Regular password changing only makes you feel more secure. It does not do anything to actually secure you. End quote. And then one more quote from the National Cybersecurity Center in the UK. Quote, forcing password expiry carries no real benefits because the user is likely to choose new passwords that are only minor variations of the old. Stolen passwords are generally exploited immediately. Resetting the password gives you no information about whether a compromise has occurred. An attacker with access to the account will probably also receive the request to reset the password. If compromised via insecure storage, the attacker will be able to find the new password in the same place. End quote. As mentioned, it's more likely that someone who gets your password will do immediate damage than secretly spy on you. And if they do try to do immediate damage, you'll likely notice and be able to respond. So it's not necessary to regularly change your passwords. Now, changing your passwords does not hurt, other than the time that it takes you to do it, but it does little to increase your security. If your passwords are strong, and especially if you have two-factor authentication enabled, don't feel that you need to periodically change your passwords. However, this doesn't mean that you never need to change another password in your life. Let's look at several situations in which you should change your password. After a data breach. When you're informed that your data was part of a data breach, change your password immediately. If you used that same password for any other accounts, change those immediately too. When hackers get breached passwords, they try them all over the internet just to see what else they can unlock. This is called credential stuffing. So make sure that you use unique passwords for all accounts. The password manager LastPass automatically informs you when your email address has been exposed in a data breach and which breach it was. That way, you know which password you should change. After being hacked. When one of your accounts is hacked, such as an email account or social media account, change your password immediately. When one of your devices, your computer, phone, tablet, etc., it's hacked or it gets malware, change the password of the device and of any accounts that were accessible from that device. After fraud or theft. When you're the victim of fraud or theft that's performed digitally, change the password of the financial institution. Also, in the case of a fraudulent purchase, change the password of any accounts with the merchant, the seller, who sold the item. For example, if the fraudulent purchases were from Amazon, change the password of your Amazon account. To change a default password. Unfortunately, many devices come with default passwords, such as wireless routers and smart devices, also known as Internet of Things or IoT devices. These often have a password printed on the device or in the paperwork that came with the device. These passwords are readily available online, so hackers can easily use them. When you have a device or software that comes with a default password, change the password immediately. After a password is sent via an insecure channel. There are secure ways to send passwords and insecure ways. If a password is sent over an insecure channel, such as SMS, text, or email, or sent over public Wi-Fi to an insecure website, which is using HTTP rather than HTTPS, then that password could be captured. Maybe you never send a password over an insecure channel, but you may receive a password over an insecure channel. For example, when I create a new account, occasionally the company emails me my password. This is infuriating because it's insecure. When a password is sent to you or by you over an insecure channel, make sure that you change that password as soon as possible in a secure way using your own device on a trusted network. After entering the password on a public device. You never know what malware or hardware keyloggers may be running on a public device, such as a computer or tablet at an airport, a library, or an internet cafe. So you can't trust those devices, and you should avoid them whenever possible. If you're ever required to enter a password on such an untrusted device, change your password as soon as possible in a secure way, using your own device on a trusted network. To change a weak password. When you realize that one of your passwords is weak, change the password immediately. To stop sharing an account. When you want to stop sharing an account with family or friends, change the password. How to change passwords. When you create a new password, make sure that it's strong, long, complex, and random. I've done a previous episode, which has a corresponding blog post, which you can find at defendingdigital.com/strong-password-security. I mentioned earlier that you should change passwords using your own device on a trusted network. Some accounts give you the option to log out all other devices and users who are logged into the account. You should do this to immediately block access to your account. Otherwise, they may be able to access your account for some time even after you change the password. When you change a password, also change your security questions, any pins, or any other details that a person could use to gain access to that account. And then see if your account offers any additional forms of security that you could activate, such as two-factor authentication. Now, how are you going to remember and create all of these passwords? A secure and convenient tool is the password manager. One provider that I love, I've used for years, is LastPass, and you can learn more about them at defendingdigital.com/go/LastPass. LastPass has a security challenge tool that analyzes your passwords and tells you which ones are weak. It can even automatically change some of them for you. What you should do. 1. Don't think that you need to change all of your passwords regularly, although doing so doesn't hurt. 2. Change a password if any of the following occurs. You're a victim of a data breach, you get hacked, you're a victim of fraud or theft, you set up a device that has a default password, your password is sent over an insecure channel, you enter a password on a public device, your password is weak, or you want to stop sharing an account. And 3, use a password manager to make it easier to change and save passwords. I recommend LastPass. You can learn more about passwords and internet safety and security at defendingdigital.com. If you're enjoying the site or the podcast, I would love it if you would tell someone about it. And if you are willing to leave a rating or review of the podcast, I would greatly appreciate that as well.